Not Too Late at 58, the podcast for those of a certain age who say, yes, why not? Hello and welcome to this podcast series called Not Too Late at 58, to start your own business. I'm Annie Weir and I turned a lifetime dream into a reality when I was 58, when I finished and published my first novel. So I'm living proof that it is not too late at 58. Hence the name and hence my new passion to help other people of a certain age to achieve their ambitions. And just a couple of things to make clear. You don't actually need to be 58, of course. You don't actually need to want to write a novel, although it is the ambition of a lot of people, and I will tackle that in a future series of podcasts. And many people I speak to say they wish they'd started their own business when they were younger. And I say, well, why not do it now? It's not too late at 58 to start your own business. This series of 10 episodes will address some aspects of starting your own business. And future series, as I say, will include novel writing, business book writing, and getting your training sessions online. So if you'd like to know more about me and Not Too Late at 58, just hop back to the first episode of the first series. This episode is called Keeping It Legal. It's really important not to fall foul of the law. At best, it could damage your business and your personal reputation, and at worst, you could be sued or arrested. We'll go through the main generic areas and think about some industry-specific ones too. And on the download for this episode, I've included links to websites for more information, so click on the link below to get that. Your local Chamber of Commerce may be able to help you. That is certainly the case in Cumbria, where I do some work as a business advisor. And if you work with food, then Environmental Health will be able to help you. And it's worth checking on these things, if only for your own peace of mind. Every business will be different, of course, and will need to comply with different aspects of the law. But some of the laws of the land apply in every business, and we're going to cover a few of them here. But I will say again, it is your responsibility to investigate what's necessary for you and for your type of business. So Health and Safety at Work Act is a huge, of course, and an obvious one. And you're not expected to know about every aspect. But you do need to know about the parts of it that apply to you in your business. As a starting point, there's a summary sheet called Workplace Health, Safety and Welfare, a short guide for managers, which is available at the hse.gov.uk website. And that's one of the links on the download. But as I say, you must find out what's necessary in your own area. Another big one is the Equality Act, which came into force in 2010. And it legally protects people from discrimination in the workplace and also, in fact, in wider society. And it replaced previous anti-discrimination laws with one single act, making the law easier to understand, but also strengthening protection for people in some areas. And it sets out different ways in which it's unlawful to treat someone. But the overarching message is that it is against the law to discriminate against anyone because of what are called protected characteristics. Now, these protected characteristics are, and I'll read the list, age, being or becoming a transsexual person, being married or in a civil partnership, being pregnant or on maternity leave, being disabled, race, and that includes colour, nationality, ethnic or national origin, religion, belief or lack of religion and belief, what sex you are, and your sexual orientation. And as I say, these are called protected characteristics. So you must not be discriminated against, or you must not discriminate against anyone simply because they have one of those characteristics, or one or more actually. And these protected characteristics, when I say in the wider society, not only at work, so you're protected from discrimination at work, in education, as a consumer, when using public services, when buying or renting property, and as a member of or a guest, of a private club or association. So you can see it's quite far-reaching. And details of all this is again at the gov.uk website. And the link to the Equality Act 2010 directly is on the download, which is in the right up below here. So they're two very general ones that apply to absolutely everybody. Depending on your area of work, you might need a license or you might need to be registered in some way. So again, you need to find out. To operate certain businesses, you need a license from your local authorities, like taxi firms, pet shops, boarding kennels, hotels, restaurants, hairdressers, mobile shops, food outlets, massage parlours, and you will also need a license, of course, if you plan to sell alcohol. Now, that's not a full list, that's just some examples. If you want to open a childminding business or daycare nursery, you need to register with Ofsted, the Office for Standards in Education in England, Care and Social Services Inspectorate in Wales, Care Inspectorate in Scotland, and the Department of Health, Social Services and Public Safety in Northern Ireland. Those hoping to operate public service vehicles must apply to their local council. If a business wants to lend money, it needs to have a licence from the Financial Conduct Authority. That's lending money, arranging credit, collecting debts, all that is regulated. And as I said before about alcohol, you must apply for a licence to sell alcohol in a shop, pub, club, nightclub, restaurant, hotel, or gaming establishment. And again, on the gov.uk website, there's all the information there. Businesses involved in food and drink are also affected by environmental, health and food hygiene regulations. And the Food Standards Agency can help with that. We are all governed by the what we used to call the Data Protection Act, which is now known as the GDPR, came in May 2018, General Data Protection Regulations. And this really was quite a big challenge to a lot of organisations when it first came in. In the last 20 years of rapid technology, the way that people stored and handled their customer data wasn't regulated very well, meaning that companies were free to do with that data as they wished, within reason. And this led to a lot of cases of businesses misleading customers into providing data about themselves without the customers kind of understanding what the data was being collected for, how it was going to be stored and used, and who it's going to be shared with. So GDPR is designed to protect customers while giving organisations the opportunity to collect and use the data they need. The key is simply that there needs to be a clear record of and a transparent process for recording customer consent and making sure they know how their data is used. And as a check for whether you comply, you can go to the ico.org.uk website and get a checklist. And again, the link for that is on the download. At the time I'm recording this, VAT applies to most organisations if your business turns over more than £85,000 or more in any rolling year. So it's not a case of waiting till the end of the financial year to see whether you've gone over 85,000. It's in a rolling year. Anytime you've got up to that in terms of sales, you must register for VAT. and this is regardless of how much profit you're making. This is purely on the sales value. Employing other people, right. Well, employment law is another huge area of legislation. It covers the normal things such as contracts of employment, minimum wage, living wage, how much holiday pay your staff are entitled to, what they should do if they've got a grievance, or what you should do if you have a disciplinary that you need to deal with. And it also covers things like pension payments that you need to make on behalf of your employees. And it also covers actually how you define employees. You know, you may start out paying people to work on an ad hoc basis or an occasional basis where they invoice you for the work that they've done, and that's fine. But once they start doing regular hours for you at times and at places that you specify, you may find that they're deemed to be employees rather than people who are self-employed in their own right. Your local Chamber of Commerce should be able to provide you with specialist advice for this type of thing. And if you do keep people on a self-employed basis when you shouldn't, what you'll find is if you get caught out at any stage that you should have been paying them NI payments, employers' NI, you should have been paying them pension payments and so on, and their tax, and you will be liable for that backtracked to when it was deemed that they started. Okay, so that's just a few ideas. Don't want to scare you, but you do need to be aware of them. As I said in the download below, you can get a copy where I've put on the links to the various different things. Quick reminder that I've reduced the cost of Not Too Late at 58 online courses. All the online courses are now under £50 and the books under £8. So I'm keeping to the theme of 5 and 8, 58, and this means that if you sign up for Not Too Late at 58 to start your own business, it will now cost only £47. If you can buy them one module at a time, and each one will cost £5.80. So it's a real low-risk way of doing it. And in the online course, we go into more depth about what I've covered in this podcast and the other podcasts, and there are loads of useful downloads for you as well. And the links for both ways of doing the course are below. In the next episode, I'm going to share with you a few ways in which you could constitute your business. So you don't have to decide that up front, but it might help you just to think about the way that you want it to go. So I'll say thanks for listening today, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.